What is up guys, it is Ross, and welcome back to another Mario Kart Wii Limitless vehicle showcase and developer commentary. In this episode we will be covering the Standard Bike S. So the Standard Bike S is just, it's just your bog standard vehicle, right? It's just like the Standard Bike S in vanilla. Oh wait, hang on, this thing is inside drift. And yeah, so basically the Standard Bike S, well, the standard bikes in general, I should probably say, are designed to they're meant to be like a love letter to, Ground Star. They're meant to be like a love letter to the mainline Mario Kart games, basically. Standard Bike M was like a shout out to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Hybrid Drift. And Standard Bike S and Standard Bike L are basically teaching players, inside drift and outside drift. So Standard Bike S is inside and Standard Bike L is outside. Basically, the standard vehicles in general are just references to how vehicles drive in other Mario Kart titles. And Standard Bike S and Standard Bike L just they're like opposites of each other in a sense. I hit that banana, whoops. So Standard Bike S, inside drift bike, its drift is rather sharp. The turns on this course probably aren't the best way of showcasing it because they're pretty slanted, but this thing does drift tight, mark my word. The acceleration is pretty good. The handling is very nice, like you can see I'm weaving about here. You do sort of need to delay drift with this thing a fair bit because its handling can somewhat affect how tight it drifts, but I'm sure for beginner players this is a lovely convenience, and for expert players, well, I mean, delay drifting kind of solves their problems. The off-road is passable, and its mini turbo is actually pretty strong as well, like it's nearly a full second, which is lovely. So what are this thing's weaknesses? Well, its weight is obviously not very good. It's a lightweight, so it can just get punted around like a ping pong ball. And its speed is pretty lackluster, so if you're not in a position to get those mini turbos, you might find yourself falling behind compared to the likes of, say, Mach Bike, which, this thing could be compared to a lot. It's kind of like, Wario, what are you doing here? It's kind of like a mid-pack version of the Mach Bike. Like, it's got all of the stats it could possibly want. That was worth it. In regards to mid-pack, it's got acceleration for days, it's got handling to weave in and out of shit, it's got a small hitbox to dodge items, its traction as well, weirdly good for a lightweight bike. It doesn't grip to the ground the hardest, but the bounces aren't as race-ending as a vehicle like, say, for example, the Magic Cruiser or the Bullet Bike, which are the two bounciest vehicles in vanilla. That's lightweights in vanilla, they did kind of get the short end of the stick, didn't they? Here's a track that I should be able to showcase this thing's mobility and mini turbo rewards exceptionally well, I think. Like, look at that, I drifted so tight that I clipped off-road. This thing is not left wanting for drift. Okay. I should have maybe slowed down, but I suppose that does serve a great example of how things can quickly go south for this thing if you don't take care of your surroundings. Because one bump can be all it takes, So, a little bit of history about the standard bikes. All three of them used to have the hyper drift gimmick. The gimmick itself was cool. People didn't really like how it was applied to three vehicles that didn't feel very different in terms of stats. And the original vision was to have the three standard carts and the three standard bikes play extremely similar to each other, so that it was a way of unifying the three different weight classes. Basically, they were functionally identical beyond, like, heavyweights having very mild speed and weight increases and lightweights having very mild acceleration and mini turbo increases. And in one update, I think it was Season 3, they were sort of redefined. They still kept their stat spreads, so they're still very, very close to each other in stats, but now they're more so defined by the various playstyles that can be found in Mario's karting adventures, as it were. It took us, for the standard bikes specifically, it took us a little bit to nail them down. For the longest time, Standard Bike S was actually the outside drifting equivalent, but in Season 6, in the latest update, this was changed so that Standard Bike S would be inside drift. I think the main issue that people had with Standard Bike S as outside drift was that it was quite similar to Bit Bike, and the two of them provided a ton of competition. Whereas, as an inside drift bike, Standard Bike S is much more unique in terms of stats. Like, Magic Cruiser is like the balls-to-the-wall off-road vehicle, Quacker is the super duper long mini turbo vehicle, and Bullet Bike is just the super glass cannon. So having a well-rounded inside drift bike was sort of in fairly high demand. And the Standard Bike L, when it was inside drift values don't exactly translate between drift types very well, so even though Standard Bike L's drift was objectively pretty good, in practice it was a lot duller than you'd expect, and it ended up being very closely equivalated to Spear a lot of the time, which caused a lot of people to think it was just a per-man Spear. So it was changed to being outside drift, and now I think the jury has come to the agreement that it's a much more unique vehicle with its own identity. And the same can be said for this thing, which you'll love to see. This inside drifting Standard Bike S actually has struck a chord with a few of our more long-standing players, which obviously you'll love to see. Like, different vehicles having their own player bases is very nice. It means we're doing our job quite well. And the CPUs, they're not putting up much of a challenge, but you know, given how sloppy I've been driving while I've been talking, honestly, I'll take it. My driving this episode has been less than exemplary. But hopefully how I've recovered from each turning blunder has given pretty decent insight as to the recovering capabilities this thing has. Some people have even gone so far as to call this thing, affectionately labeled this thing Flame Runner for Cowards, which, you know, not really a label that I personally stand for, but, you know, if that's how you want to look at it, then by all means, go for it. Just gonna do a full standstill accel here. Its acceleration is pretty damn good. It's rivaling some vanilla vehicles, to be sure. Nice! Goomba Circuit. This is a fun one to end it on, I think. Like, lightweight bikes are quite fun to drive on this track, I think. Like, because bikes can just do the funny little thing where you can just sort of just go over the sides. That was a terrible example. Normally you get more air than that. Hopefully I'll be able to do it better here for the shortcut. Whee! Like, see, you just cut off half of that shortcut. It's great. It's so fun to do. It's a little silly, but it's so fun to do. And obviously I missed the mini turbo there, but with how much airtime I got, it didn't even matter. An additional comment on Standard Bike S's physics is that it can get a lot of airtime because it's a lightweight, but because it's, like, not the bounciest lightweight, I believe it's second only to Jet Bubble. No, second only to Quacker, I believe, in terms of lightweight sticking to the floor ability, though I could be wrong. Maybe it's third. That basically means it gets the best of both worlds. Like, you can stick to the ground, but you can also get a load of airtime for when there's a ramp shortcut, which is kind of funny. Oh, Phil Swift installed flex tape on the tires that lap. Shouldn't have taken that pit stop, should I? Oh, how it again? Bruh. Doesn't matter. We win the race. We're shrimply the best, aren't we? So, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps up another Mario Kart Wii Limitless vehicle showcase. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out the previous parts if you haven't already, and the next parts when they come out. And until next time, this is Ross, signing out. Goodbye.